So I'm starting to record now. Yes, so that announcement about our test on the 12th of October. And then today's exercise is really stuff that we've talked about quite a bit, I think. But so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But this Lab 5, that's what we have to do this week. I did put in D2L that you should also look at the project. You should have all finished the first item of the project already, but the second item you could be working on because that's due. Well, you got a week and a half to do it, but it's to put all the text together. This absolute and relative path thing, I hope you got the idea from this exercise that we did some time ago. Remember, if you look at that there, you'll see the some HTML for that CO3 website. And remember, we had the dots. So this was from the index .html file, how we're doing our navigating. Remember the dots. And then when we looked at other files, we had the dot. And this was about parent directories and current directories, because in both cases, they're using this concept of relative addressing of our for URLs for addressing in a website. So that is discussed in this table. When we're working with files on our computer, we often use absolute addresses, which is absolute paths, which is discussed here. Now this, and actually, don't worry when you're reading these things, don't worry too much about the fact that it's talking about Linux and it's talking about Mac. That's okay. These operating systems, and actually the Mac operating system is kind of based on the Linux operating system, but these points that are made in this table, they are just as true for Linux as they are for Windows. So a little fun fact, the operating system Windows developed from an operating system called MS-DOS, Microsoft, which was based on a system called CP1520, I think, which was based on Unix and Linux. So, I mean, the commands are very similar, and the idea and the way that they handle files is pretty similar. People who use Linux a lot maybe say that the way of doing it is a little more logical, it might seem. The commands, you know, you got these 2-letter commands, CP, RD, you know, CD, RD, that kind of thing. And you have some longer ones as well. So we are using this idea of relative cell addressing. That is, we don't ever refer to C drive, D drive, E drive as a location for a file that we're talking about on our website. And that's because we're publishing our website to a server, and we don't actually know where it is located on the server. We just know it's located in a folder, and the server handles that. And so what we do is we have the root address of the root folder of our website, and we navigate from there. Now this diagram here describes what we call the client-server model. The client-server model, the idea of that is that you have a server which provides a service to a client. The client receives a service from the server. This is the way the web works. When we're surfing the web, we are on a client. The files that we're looking at are sitting on a server somewhere. Now that server could be on the same machine, but on the internet, more likely it's on the other side of the world somewhere. And we don't know, and we can't know about that. You could have some networking tricks that can help you with that, yeah. But depending on how far away it is. But normally, for most of us, that's all sort of opaque to us. We can't really see unless we have some special networking tools for that. And that's represented by these dotted lines here. So when we're sitting on our browser on our laptop, we're communicating to a server, we're making an HTTP request. And you notice when we try and get to a server and get to a page, we do HTTP colon / and then the address. So the HTTP request is going to be a request that the server receives, and then the server takes that request, finds the file, and sends it back to you. So we're a client. The server serves up the web page for us after we request it. But first, somebody else has created those files and uploaded them to the server so that the server can serve them to people. The exercise that we're doing in Lab 5 is actually this bit here about us. We get our files and then we upload them to the server. And we use a protocol for that, which is called the FTP, File Transport Protocol. Using File Transport Protocol, we can copy files from our device to the server. Now, FileZilla is a tool that we use to make that a bit easier. So FileZilla is running our FTP commands for us and making those commands for us, and we're just sort of doing a click and drop, that kind of thing. So that's why with FileZilla, we'll log into FileZilla and let it do the work for us. Now, I hope by now we've all been able to sort of log in, and my apologies for the issues with the password. I had a 3 where I should have had a 4 there. And anyway, so that is the password. That's the password you'll use to log in with your student number as your ID. And what will happen then is you will be given a folder. A folder is created for you with your student number as the name of that folder. You are given permission for it. Nobody else is given permission. But of course, it may have occurred to some of you that somebody else could log into my account on the server just using this password. So that's why there are instructions here at the end of this for you to actually go and change your password if you're sort of concerned about somebody else logging in. So you can do that. You can make it more private. So once you have logged in, you will find somewhere on there a public _HTML folder. That is where you put all your work. All your work must be in there, because only that is only in that folder are the permissions, so that other people can see what's there, and so that you can publish your web work there. There's some instructions there on changing your password. So I mean, we have kind of done this, but just to sort of to put that back in our mind. So here we had this exercise where we created a few folders and a few files. So I'm looking now at the file which is courses.html, and notice that we've got some hyperlinks in it. And in these hyperlinks, just about all of the hyperlink, well, except for 2, and that's because these 2 things exist in the current folder. So the direction for that hyperlink is from the current folder, just go and find that file. But for everything else, for the images and for the index, first you have to go to the parent directory. And if we looked at the directory structure of that, and so you can see the directory structure here, when you're in this folder here, when you're in this file, the courses.html file, in order to do things like get an image, you would have to go to the parent directory. This up arrow means go to the parent directory. You'd have to go to the parent directory and then go to the images directory, and then you would find, and sorry, it seems like I put a lot of junk in there too, right? Somehow I was saving my attendances in there. I'll delete those out. But that's where you would find the images. Likewise, you'd have to go to from the courses HTML, you have to go to the parent to find the index. And so that is represented in the code. Go to the parent, that's where you find the index. Go to the parent, then navigate to the images. That's where you find these files. But when you're in the courses file, you don't have to go to the parent to find the courses file or the hobbies file, because they're in the current directory, and that is represented by a single dot. All right, now I've gone through that a few times, so I'm not going to spend much more time on that, I don't think, and there's some stuff about the source. What we should get our idea of doing is, supposing we've done this, we've made our website. Our website is made of many directories, and it has an index. What do we do with it? Well, what we do with it is this. We create a compressed folder. I'm going to delete this compressed folder now. So it's there. So how do we create it? We right click, and the easiest way is just to send to compressed folder. And so that's recreated that folder. Then what we're going to do is we're going to publish it. Oh, what am I talking about? Oh, sorry. This is the thing that you put up to D2L. Publishing, we're going to do the uncompressed folder, because otherwise we would have to uncompress it when we got onto the website. So don't compress for publishing, compress for adding to D2L. So we're going to take this folder now, and we're going to put it onto the we're going to publish it. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'd have to be in FileZilla. So let's see if I can find FileZilla here. Doesn't seem to be showing up at the bottom there, so I'll just everything okay? Yeah, all right. So you would first need to log into FileZilla. Hopefully you can see this. I'm getting background feedback, right? So I'm going to mute you. If you want to talk, you'll have to unmute. Okay, so how we log in is with SFTP, Secure File Transport Protocol. Then the name of the server is the SIT at the CNA qatar.edu.qa. Your username, that there you're going to put your number 600. For me, it's this. Then you're going to put your password, and I don't have the same password as you do. Then the port is going to be, and hopefully I remembered my password correctly. Didn't get a dodgy password like I gave to you before, and I apologize on that. All right, so then you should see then you have a public folder, and if you open that, now I've already uploaded this, so maybe I'll try and remove that. So if I right click on it, I think I can delete that entire folder. So yeah, so to do it again, right? So, oh gee, oh no. Deleted everything else. Wow, that's kind of cool. I'll have to upload everything again, right? So it looks like I deleted everything in my public. I was trying to delete everything in this. This is the thing I wanted to delete. Isn't that funny? Yeah. Okay, so yes, I got an empty public HTML. That's awesome. All right, so what I would do then is I would, and that's okay because I have everything on my hard drives somewhere, I think. What I need to do is I need to find that file. So if I would look here and find it, that's on the desktop, and that would be the, right, I think it's in there. Yeah, here's the files that I want to upload. All right, and so then I right click and upload. And what will happen is that now goes into here. All right, and so how can I test that that's working? I can go to any browser. So hopefully you'll notice that I'm in a browser. Now in the browser, I can look at things on my hard drive. That's true, but I'm not going to be looking at something on my hard drive. I'm going to actually, and so watch that very carefully to make sure I'm not cheating you, right? So I'm actually going to go to the internet and get, and so I'm in the SIT server. And then I'm going to select my public, and there's that site. Okay, now when I click on this, it should, yes, it opens just as it was, because why? Because of the index. Now when I, how can we test that, right? If I go back to FileZilla, be careful when you're deleting, right? Anyways, I cleared up a bit of space there. I have all that stuff in another place. So, but if I look at this, you can see in the bottom, so at the top shows the folder, in the bottom shows all the stuff that's inside the folder. So the CO3 My Site folder is what I'm looking at, and I can see all the things that are in it. And that's basically kind of what you need to do for this exercise, I think. So you need to have an index.html in an exercise that you have done, and upload that. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking now.
I'm having a problem logging into the file.
What you have to do to test out what you've been doing is you'll need to open a browser. You see, this is a browser. I'm using, I think it's, I don't know if it's Google Chrome or Firefox, but you have to open a browser, and I got 10 minutes left. And then you're going to navigate to sit.cna-qatar.edu/, now where I put Mark, you put your student number. And then you should be able to see, when you do that, let me edit this out. When you do that, you should be able to see something like this, which is you're now looking inside your public_HTML folder when you do this. The tilde and then your student number will take you to your public. Well, why don't you tell me, what is your student number? What is your student number?
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
6008.
It's better if you just tell me. 6008.
519.
519.
8.
8, like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what's been posted. Okay, I can see there you have assignment 1 posted, that you did that today, and I can see assignment 1, and anybody else in the world can do it. You have published it. So that's how we test it.
Okay, sir. Now when I do to other labs, what I have to do? What's the second step?
Okay, so what you have to do is you have to upload them the same as you did this one, all to the same place. And then you have to create an index.html file, and you have to put some hrefs in it that link to those files. That's what you have to do. Does that make sense? I hope.
No, sir. I have to do a new thing.
Sir?
Yes. Well, sorry. The new thing that you have to do is you have to make an index file. This is an index, right? It's index.html. And you have to have hrefs in it. You have to have links which point to each of the exercises that you've done. Each of those exercises should have an index.html or something.html, and you will link to it here. So you're using href to go to those pages, and you'll have to have an idea of how to use your relative cell addressing to get to them. So likely,
Sir?
yes?
Can I share my screen? So can I share something about the FileZilla?
All right, hold on a sec. So stop share and go ahead.
Is this the FileZilla that you're talking about?
Yes,
This
it
one?
is. Okay, yours.
So because it looks different.
Yeah, you have, okay, seems a different version. Where you got CNA, if you go back to that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the wrong one. I can
So,
see it says FileZilla's server. You don't want FileZilla's server, you want FileZilla client. FileZilla server would be as if you were a server. And you're not running a server, you're running a client. So you need to look at that again and you need to download the client. So yeah, that is different, sorry.
okay, my bad, sorry.
No, it's easy mistake. I mean, I haven't done this before, right? So yeah, it's easy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So your FileZilla, when you use it, should look like the icon is this. Oh, well, you're not, I'm not, you can't see what I'm doing because you're still sharing, right? But I'll share again.
I stopped sharing.
Yeah. So the icon is this thing here. It looks different, right? Yeah. FileZilla client. Yeah. Then you'll be okay. All right. Yes, you need an index to connect all the labs together. Very good point. That's right. That is what you need to do. And then the index will be, when you put your public HTML, the index will be here. So I haven't put that index there. So, I would have to put one there. So when I make my index, I'll make sure that I upload it directly to the public HTML so that when I look at public HTML, it's sitting there. Mine isn't at the moment, but it would have to be for that exercise. Yeah. I hope that helps.